This is the Woodpeckers Auto-Line drill guide. Is it any good? Not got a clue. Let's find out. Now I'm going to start this video with a disclaimer and a thank you. The disclaimer is I've not paid for this. The thank you is thank you Julian for lending me your drill guide. Not so long ago I did a review on the UJK drill guide, and you may have seen other comparisons I've done with that video. If not, go and look at this playlist up here. But Julian, one of our community, got in touch with me after that video and said, hey Andy, I've got a whole host of woodpeckers gear. Would you like to start to look at that to do some reviews? Because we don't see many reviews around woodpeckers gear here in the UK. Probably availability and price points, I'd imagine. So I said, yes, thank you. So over the next few months, we're going to get a whole host of woodpecker products into the workshop where we can have a look at, unbox and review. And today is the turn of the Woodpeckers Auto-Line drill guide. So huge thank you for Julian for lending this to me. I've not paid for it, it's on loan, but as always, I'm under no obligation to like it. So I may destroy a beautiful friendship with Julian if I am dismissive of his product. So let's crack on and work out what we're going to do in this video. So in today's video, we'll unbox this and see what we get inside the kit, and at the same time we'll see what kits are available. We'll talk about that all important price point, always the elephant in the room when it comes to woodpeckers products. We'll have a look around the device, look at the quality of build and have a look at the features, and then we'll use some of those key features and put it through its paces, and then come back and do a final summary and see what we think. So let's get cracking and unbox this thing. What I do love about woodpeckers is it all comes in this really environmentally friendly cardboard boxes. No bleaching here, no excessive printing and no plastics inside. Opening the box, we're presented with cardboard. The very, very top cardboard box, that's the accessories that come with the overall kit, and we'll look at those in more detail in a second. We then have the machine itself, nice and small and compact actually. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but it's smaller than I thought it was going to be, but really, really nice. A couple of flag stops, and we'll have a look at the flag stops in a second, and then a couple of accessories. Now what you're looking at here is the deluxe kit. So I'm going to take these accessories away for the time being. So this is a standard kit, and this is going to cost you $299.99. That's about 240-ish UK pounds. And this is January 2024, so conversion rates obviously change. Word of warning, that price does not include delivery or shipping to the UK, which can be pretty expensive, nor does it include VAT and import duties that you would need to pay. So it does make a rather expensive proposition. Now you can find stockists for these in the UK, and one such stockist is the Woodworkers Workshop, our friend Pete Sefton, his store over there, and he's currently listing this at £389.95, excluding shipping. So no matter how you cut it, getting it shipped from the US and all that import duty, etc., or buying it directly from Peter, who's already imported this, it's not a cheap proposition. 390-ish pound in the UK, or that $300 mark from the US. So in the kit you get the stand itself, really, really well made. Everything here is aluminium apart from the steel shafts. We'll look at this in a second. Inside the base kit, inside this magic box, we get some instructions and specifications, a couple of extension rods, a small fence, and, if I can find it, a chuck key. This is what you're going to get for your money in the base kit. So like all woodpeckers gear, this is a quality device. It's an aluminium base, it's steel rods here, a gorgeous chuck, which is a 1/2 inch chuck. Everything is sprung loaded as always, nice return action and gorgeous and smooth. Couple of pins here cut inside the base, which I like to see on tool storage. It saves losing things. And we have the fence here and a couple of rods. And we'll look at this fence and its functionality shortly, but that's the whistle stop top. Now if you go for the deluxe kit, it's going to cost you $399.99, and I've not seen a UK equivalent for the deluxe kit, so you probably are importing that from the US. But if you go for that one, you now get some additional things. You get some of these extension rods. To be precise, you get 6 of these here extension rods, and you also get a small wrench as well. Why they come in 2 packets, I don't know. That is a bit of a waste of plastic, but that's what you get with the deluxe kit. Now you also get some of the sexiest flag stops that you'll ever see in your life, and I really do love these. Look at those little beauties, and you get two flag stops. So it's pretty obvious what the deluxe kit is all about. It's about some additional rods and some flag stops. So coupling the fence and the flag stops together gives you incredible repeatability as you use your drill. So 2 kits, standard kit and deluxe kit, $100 difference between the 2. Now there's no real setup required about this. So now let's look at the features of this device and see what we think. As I've already said, it comes in with a 1/2 inch chuck, and that's got a standard hex drive. And that hex shaft will take quite happily a Jacobs chuck. Now obviously this is a big drill, so you can see it's not overly stable with my big drill inside it here, but you can get the idea. And that's exactly what this device is for, right? It's for making accurate drill cuts perpendicular to your stock. What more do you want? It has got a hex drive, and inside most drills you have a hex drive here as well, so that will fit inside here. What I do find, the mating between a woodpecker's hex and the hex inside a festool is a little bit too tight. Not sure whether that's the imperial to metric conversation, but I do find that my drill does get stuck on this one. So I would be using a Jacobs chuck to actually attach my drill to it, which is no hardship, it's just sort of kind of what it is. The device itself, it's got a spring return, and the spring return is pretty good, and we saw that same spring return on the auto angle guide if you saw that video. If not, go and check out that now, it's awesome. And it's the same, exactly the same solution here as well. Now the fence itself can be used in a variety of different ways, and like most fences, it's just to give you some guides. So the first thing you do is you take these rods that came with the kit, and you'll see there's 2 holes here, 2 holes here, 2 holes on the back, and 2 holes on the other side. And choose any of those holes, and you can quite simply drop in your shafts. Now what I do love about all of these drill guides from woodpeckers is these little knurled knobs at the top hide away a secret, and that's this small Allen key inside here. And on the back of the rod, so there's a small hole, the same size, and that just allows you to quickly nip that down. So having that storage on that drill, I think is quite nice. Sorry, on that drill stand is quite nice. And then you've got a pretty traditional fence. Nice brass knurled knobs here. That slides on. Tighten it into position, and now you can use that fence as a reference on any piece of stock, which gives you pretty good repeatability in that sort of way. If you've also bought the deluxe kit, you get these additional rods. Now these rods have a number of uses for you. There's actually a threaded hole inside the standard ones, and your new rods will fit inside here, so that obviously extends the usability and the reach of the fence. But they can also be used as a flag stop. Now, because of the way these are engineered, this thread here is a much smaller gauge than the threads that come on your standard rods, so it won't actually fit inside. But these centering pins double up as an adapter, and it's straight away you can see the comparison between the 2 threads. But your new rods screw quite happily into your pins, and that the adapter pin will now screw quite happily on there, and again there's a hex drive inside there allowing you to nip that up. The world's best engineered, sexiest flag stops now happily slide on there, again brass knurled knobs, and you can set your flag stops to a position And now you've got two reference points. You've got your front face reference point and obviously your flag stop, which means that you can find that exact position on multiple panels, for example, giving you huge amounts of accuracy and repeatability. And because the kit comes with two stops, you could set a couple of positions on this. You can go ahead and drill your first hole and then use the second flag stop and go ahead and drill your second hole with a whole host of repeatability. So really, really nice, and say these are so beautiful, so well engineered that I could put those in a frame and put them in the workshop, to be honest with you. I really do like those. And say you get 6 of these rods inside the kit, and you also get a small wrench that just allows you to use these flat spots here if you wish to do so, rather than using those knurled knobs. Now the fence itself has a number of references on it, so we can actually mount the plate, the fence in this direction, which gives us quite a nice reference surface here, which means that this could quite happily go onto the edge of a panel and you can drill in this direction into the side of a panel, which is pleasant. It can also fit in this orientation, and then this surface and this surface are coplanar, which means I've now got somewhere to rest my hand to make that incredibly stable if I wanted to, so it gives me some stability as well. The fence could also fit on in this direction, which means that the base can slide over the top of the fence, allowing me to drill pretty close to the edge of a piece of stock, and again in a repeatable way, which is awesome. I'm just going to take this top off 1 second, just undo those 2 knurls, and this now pops off. Now inside the base you can see there's 4 witness marks, 1, 2, 3 and 4, that obviously allows me to line things up. But what I want you to see on the fence here, just where my finger is, there's another reference mark. So as you bring in your fence, you can use that reference mark on the fence as well, which centers up perfectly between these 2 marks here, allowing you to really set this thing up for accurate cuts once you've got some marks on your piece of stock. So pretty awesome design. Now while I've got this here, obviously you can drop the spring off, and we can also drop off the depth stop, and that will increase the capacity of this device overall. This is a small thing, but what I do love about woodpeckers is how well this is engineered. Inside here we have what look like steel sleeves running against a steel tube, and watch this. Look how nice that action is. Really smooth. It's not banging down and crashing. It's beautiful, beautiful action. And that's pretty typical of the engineering quality you get from woodpeckers. But obviously if you take away the depth stop and the spring, you obviously get a greater plunge with the spring on and the depth stop on place. Obviously the compression of the spring restricts how far down you can go. So by dropping the spring off, it just gives you that little bit more depth as you start to drill, if that's important to you. Now while we mentioned depth stop, let's talk about the depth stop. Now again, like all of these devices from woodpeckers, this shaft has a taper inside it. There's a flat surface here, and that flat surface is narrower here than it is here. So if you put your depth stop against that flat surface and nip in that knurled knob, as you could press down with your drill, that depth stop pushes down onto that flat surface, and because it's getting wider as it goes down, it just results in tightening that up. So that gives you a very, very repeatable, reliable depth stop that's not going to slip down a round shaft. Nice little piece of engineering there, I think. Now with this being a 1/2 inch shaft, that's going to take some pretty serious drill bits, but the aperture down here is relatively small. Now the narrowest part of the aperture, if I measure that, it comes in at round about an inch, so about 25 millimeters. So the maximum bore you can get inside this hole is about that 1 inch 25 millimeter mark, which isn't really that big. However, this thing's got a trick up its sleeve. You can now turn this around, take off these 2 knurls, drop off the carriage, turn the carriage around, and now you've increased the capacity of that drill. That will increase your drill capacity to about 1 inch and 1/8. So not huge, but it gives you a little bit of a capacity increase that might just save the day. Now it also has these 2 pins here, and these pins, as well as being the adapters for your extension rods, are also self-centering pins. So you take them off there and then just reinsert them into the holes at the bottom, like so. Bring in your piece of stock, position those pins either side of the stock and twist the drill, and that now lines up perfectly into the centre of the stock, which is a nice, neat feature. So there's not a lot to the device, it drills straight holes for you. Let's just put it through its paces a little bit. So we'll start off with that middle point while I've got the stock. I'll just drop the Jacob's chuck onto my smaller drill, like so. So the base is quite small, so it's a bit hard, a bit tricky to hold, so I'd probably want to clamp this down if I was doing a real job. And in theory that should be in the centre. Non-scientific, but let's have a quick scout. No surprises, that's in the centre. I'm just going to make some random marks on this piece of wood. We'll have one there. We'll have one there. Have one there. One there. Drop in our fence rods. Drop in our fence, say there. And now I can just line up those witness marks. Bring in a drill. And in theory, they are all in line, and they are. So what more do you want from that device? Does the job. So there you go, the Woodpeckers Auto-Line drill guide from Woodpeckers. It's not a cheap proposition, but it's a quality device. I think that's how you can sum up most of Woodpeckers gear, especially when we start to look at shipping costs and import duties and all the great stuff that our governments insist on enforcing on us. But it's a really, really nice piece of work. It's solid, it's quality, it's heavy, it's robust, it's accurate, it's easy to use. It does the job, but it does it at a price point. So if budget's not a concern to you and you want a quality product, this is probably the best one on the market. I know that Banggood now have similar devices on the market where they've taken the design that Woodpeckers have invested in and they've created and engineered high quality products that are the same. But this is the original. It's probably one of the best on the market, but by God, it comes at a price. If you don't care about the price, highly recommend it if you want one of these. So with that said, I hope you found this useful. As always, take care in the workshop, and I'll see you next time on The Woodcraft.